Hello, everybody. Thanks for watching again. It is Veggie Wednesday with Dee and Renee. Share this broadcast so that other people can jump on to the live, and that offers you the option to ask us live questions. If you have questions about something, please feel free to put them in the comments section. Tell us where you're from. Say hello. We always love to see who's watching and who is online, and how we can help you with more and more creative vegetable options. So today we are talking about rhubarb, and it's really interesting because I didn't even try rhubarb until maybe like 6 or 8 months ago, when a client of mine brought it in. She had made the rhubarb compote, and she said, add this to your shakes, and I have been hooked ever since. So, Dee, tell us about rhubarb.
Well, in Canada, now I've had some really interesting comments from some of the southern parts of US saying we just don't grow it there. And you know what? Maybe you're just a little bit too warm. So rhubarb is a perennial. In Canada, it is found in almost every grandmother's garden, and it is almost like a noxious weed. You truly cannot kill this perennial veggie. It is very hardy. You can abuse and abuse and abuse it, and it will come back. And to give testimony to that, I had put a plea out on my Facebook for family and friends, if they had any rhubarb I could borrow, to please get in touch with me, as my boys had whippersnipped my rhubarb down to nothing, and then my husband gave it a shot of Roundup because he thought it was in the patch with the weeds, and it is currently making its comeback. So it's about a foot tall now. So for the recipes pictured today, a childhood friend, April, so generously let me come raid her rhubarb patch, and so I had a lovely fresh batch, beautiful red color to work with this week. So that was awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. So one thing, here in California, we don't always have it in season. So we do, I don't know if you have a Sprouts or, ask your grocer. We have it in the frozen section. So I'm able to get it pretty much all year round. So, you can always ask the grocer to help you out with some frozen rhubarb.
Always, always. Don't ever be scared to ask them to bring it in. Frozen is available year round. And if your local grocer doesn't, if you have wholesalers in your area, they will often offer rhubarb as a product, and at really good prices. You do buy it in bulk, so you might want to, team up with a few fellow protocol users or maintenance users to split it up. But a very versatile veggie, as we're going to see here, and you can use it in lots of places. It's comparable to so many vegetables that you already use, and maybe that you're not allowed to use while you're on phase one. So it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if you are just jumping online, please be sure to share the broadcast right away and send us your questions. Tell us where you're from. I see that Melissa is online, and she says hello and that she loves rhubarb. It's amazing. My grandma used to have it in her garden, but I probably haven't had it since I was 6 or 7 years old. So it is a really interesting, you haven't had something forever, and never would I even think of going to the store and getting it. But it's been a game changer definitely for phase one. All righty, so let's start with our first recipes, which Dee created, making smoothies. I love this picture. It's so cute.
That curly stalk of rhubarb was done by accident. I had some shorter pieces. So I'll give you a little pre-lesson in rhubarb just prior to talking about this recipe. You do not pick rhubarb in the heat of the day. You pick it early morning or late evening when it is cool. Otherwise, the plant will wilt. And because I picked, and you also don't cut it, you pull and twist. You pull rhubarb from the base, and then the plant keeps regenerating. But anyway, I had the rhubarb, quite a lot of it, and so I had sliced off the ends and then placed them in cool water to keep them nice and crisp. Well, a few pieces I didn't get to, and I left in that cool water overnight, and the ends absorbed the water and made curlicues. So I thought it was such a pretty piece of rhubarb, I had to put it in the drink as my garnish.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, rhubarb smoothies. The sky is the limit when it comes to rhubarb smoothies, and how you make your rhubarb cube base is also. So you're going to see in another recipe here today, rhubarb compote. So when you cook your rhubarb down, make stewed rhubarb, rhubarb compote, whatever you want to call it, you can call it many things. It's basically the same method. You're just going to be softening up that rhubarb to use in a variety of recipes. Once you have your stewed rhubarb, you can add any sweet, sugar-free sweetener, so jam, syrup, ideal protein, maple syrup, or none if you simply like that tart taste. You could add branched-chain amino acids to it. You could add the collagen products such as the raspberry jello or the blue cran palm drink. You could add your mangosteen or tangerine to it to give it some zip. And you simply just blend it down in a blender, pour into ice cube trays or molds, and freeze. And voila, you have rhubarb that are ice cubes. And so you simply pair with any IP drink under the sun, whether in maintenance or phase one. So think wild berry yogurt, vanilla chai, chocolate, strawberry banana ready-made, peach mango ready-made. If you're using the ready-mades, you simply just don't need to add water like you would your powders. And you blend them up and away you go. If you're having an extra hungry day and you need an extra, then you just would simply blend up your cubed rhubarbs and have a lovely slushy drink, and count it as your select veggies. And on days like that, you just put that unlimited veggie list to use once you've used up your 4 cups of select. So super easy to portion out. So if you start with 2 cups of stewed rhubarb, then you know that you've got 2 cups. And so once you freeze it into your ice cube trays, portion out accordingly, whether you want half cup servings or 1 cup servings. Put them in little freezy bags and they're ready to go. Super easy, super fast, and super delicious. So refreshing. So refreshing.
Yeah, it's really nice to have it in the freezer. I make it in my Instant Pot, which towards the end we'll share that recipe with you. But then I just make a huge batch of it. And I'm able to, do exactly what you said is just freeze it and know what the serving size is. And a lot of times, in the morning, even in the summertime, I like to have a warm drink to start my day. So I will actually, even though the rhubarb might be cold, I'll actually put hot water, and I always put extra hot water. I make my drinks with about 12 ounces of water. I like them just a little more water in them. It's more and helps me stay full. And so I'll put warm water in there and make kind of like a cozy warm drink. It's not exactly hot, but it's not cold either. So that's a nice way to do it too. And I have to say, during the summertime, I love all the fruity drinks with, the rhubarb, or if you haven't seen last week's show, the cauliflower, like the frozen rice cauliflower, awesome. So make sure you check out last week's show. And if you are interested in getting these recipes, Facebook Messenger will message them to you if you just type in the word recipe in the comments section. And you'll get a downloadable file that you can print. Okay, Miss D, let's move on to, this is so yummy looking. I haven't tried this yet.
It is so simple. And again, rhubarb pie. I think that is what the rhubarb plant is actually associated with lots of people, is rhubarb pie. Strawberry rhubarb pie. Most people who plant rhubarb also have strawberry plants in their garden because they are a lovely complement to each other. And I even think somewhere, I think I was reading, like there is National Rhubarb Pie Day, things like that. It is a really celebrated recipe. So This one is super simple. Again, you could use stewed rhubarb because that's in the recipe. What we're going to do, we're simply going to take 1 cup of sliced rhubarb. You're going to stew it down just for a little while with 150 mils of water once for 10 to 15 minutes. Once that's done, we're going to add the ideal protein raspberry gelatin, and that's going to be the bones to hold our pie together. So you remove from heat, you stir, you gently stir in your Jello, and I choose 2 tablespoons of the Walden Farms jam. And the reason I choose that is my sweetener. The rhubarb is very tart, and I like that. The raspberry jam cuts it just a tiny bit, just gives a little hint of sweet in there. But the jam also firms back up when cooled, so it also helps to hold our pie together. So that is the filling. And then you simply make the plain pancake as I use just a tiny bit extra water and make about a 6-inch pancake. Don't overcook it. And then you simply press that warm pancake into a 6-inch little pie plate or even a cereal bowl. Lots of cereal bowls are about 6 inches, so you don't need fancy equipment. You just simply press that pancake into your dish, let it cool, and then you pour your cooled rhubarb Jello mixture into that and just simply let it set in the fridge. And you have a version of rhubarb pie that is phase 1 friendly, but again, could be used at any time, low carb, super low sugar crust that you can enjoy anytime. Now the Jello, IP Jello causes a little bit of confusion, so if anybody needs to take this back to their coach or to their center and get clarification, Jello is a collagen product and it is an incomplete protein. Now it does tell you that on the box, but what it means is that you should actually not use Jello as a daily source of protein because over time you would be shorting yourself just a little bit. So you are allowed to use the Jello as an extra every second day. And again, take that back to your coach for clarification if you have concerns on that. But so this recipe as pictured could be 1 serving of your day because the Jello could be a freebie to you. Or if you want to use it as 2 servings that day, you are allowed to use the Jello as another IP pack serving, just not on a regular basis. So you can decide how you want to work this type of recipe into your day. Another great one for phase 2 and a great treat for maintenance as well.
Yeah. I like the collagen products and I use them maybe 2 or 3 times a week. In the wintertime, I take the raspberry jelly and I will actually heat it up and drink it like a warm tea. So you can, incorporate it in different ways. And I love the way that you're, incorporating it into this little jelly pie here. And people get confused in that. I believe the reason is that the collagen products don't have the full amino acid package with them. Is that correct, Dee?
Correct. They do not have all 8 essential amino acids. They were actually designed as a collagen product. And there probably should be just a little bit more education given on that product. It does tell you that on the box, but if you're not reading the product boxes as they come in, then you may miss that. And fair enough, but we're here to help you out with that too.
That's right. Okay, if you're just logging on, let's say hello to a couple people. Patty is from Holdridge, Nebraska. Hi, Patty. How are you? And let's see. Deborah says hello. And hello from Catherine in Nova Scotia. So if you're just logging in, tell us where that you are from and be sure to share the broadcast. If you are interested in getting these recipes so that you can download them and print them, all you have to do is type the word recipe and Messenger will send you the recipe link. So that's awesome. Okay. So moving on to all different kinds of muffins. So Dee clearly is a great baker. I have to tell you, I only ever made those little muffins one time. And I'm just like, that's just like not in my scope of practice. I can fix your computer, but don't make me bake some muffins. So there you go.
That's okay. That's okay. One thing that you probably noticed about a lot of my baking is it does actually use a lot of the same format. But within that, then we can make a lot of alterations and tweaks. So when you see a base recipe, so this one, for example, the recipe is written that it makes 2 unrestricted servings. And you could eat both halves within the day, and you're staying within your oil allowance, you're staying within your milk allowance. This recipe does use 1 whole egg, but that's split over 2 ideal protein unrestricted servings, and so that would be counted as 1.5 ounces of protein, which you would subtract off your 8 ounces. So journaling is very important. However, you could take these recipes and you could make them into single servings, as in use more oil or use more milk. And to design it to your taste if you only wanted to have 1 a day. So I did do this one so that you could eat 4 regular size large muffins in a day, and it would be 2 unrestricted servings plus a cup of rhubarb. And another thing that I really love to do when I do test recipes, if it works with a chocolate pack, then I'm going to try it with a vanilla. If it works with vanilla, I'm going to try it with a vanilla chai latte, and so on and so forth. We just all have different tastes. Maybe somebody is gluten-free, needs a plain pancake, those type, oatmeal, those types of things. Maybe somebody's looking for soy-free, that's the pancake, those types of things. So I just like to test it out on anything that I can think of. And so pictured there, it's a plain pancake combined with the vanilla drink, and then the plain pancake combined with the vanilla chai drink, and a plain pancake combined with chocolate drink for the chocolate lovers. And chocolate and rhubarb is quite delightful as well. So it's basically the same recipe. It is the same recipe with just the different pack combinations to show you that it can be done.
Yeah, and the thing about adding, the rhubarb, or we've talked about chayote before, is that it really adds moisture to your protein baked goods. So a lot of protein baked goods kind of tend to have a little bit of dry texture to them, and the thing about this is it really adds that moisture and makes them like a muffin you get at the bakery, right?
Yeah, it does. It really does. And sometimes, just depending on your veggie, rhubarb is another one that it releases quite a bit of water when it is baked, so that moisture. And so you just have to, play with the actual amounts that you can push the limits onto. So this one, I stopped at a 1/4 cup per serving. 1/2 cup just kind of made the muffins a little bit too mushy. And so And I love to test recipes, so that's part of the fun for me, is that I just, if I'm going to bake a recipe, I might as well do 6 and see what I like the best.
Yeah, you bake whole cakes. It's awesome. So just remember, and like Dee said, talking about journaling, and I know that there's a video on our group or page where we talk about journaling. So those are important things. And Melissa says these muffins were so good yesterday. Apparently Melissa gets to do the taste test too.
Sometimes.
All right. So moving on. This looks amazing. And also this looks simple. This is overnight oatmeal so that it's already ready for you in the morning. So that's, when you're running out the door, that's a great option.
Yeah, I presented this with the chayote as well. And if you have never made overnight oatmeal in any of these, I encourage you to make it in this one. This is so simple, and it is so delicious, and it lasts for days, especially when you put it in the sealed glass jars. You don't have to run out and buy sealed glass jars, but they are super handy. And flea markets, garage sales, those types of things. Somebody is always clearing out somebody else's cold rooms, pantries, and getting rid of these jars. And if you need to buy new lids, canning season is upon us, and so they're really, really easy to find. You could, so one recipe makes 2 unrestricted servings. You could easily make multiple servings for your week and have breakfast to go every single day. The one pictured, you're not limited to the recipe I posted as well. This just gives you a real idea on how simple you can do it. And it is the apple oatmeal and a vanilla drink mix. Use a little bit of water, 1 cup of stewed rhubarb. I did use cinnamon, and I used some Ideal Protein maple syrup as my sweetener. You simply gently combine all those ingredients, split it between 2 glass jars, let it do its magic overnight in the fridge, and it is simply delicious. It's so delicious. It's just sweet enough. It's filling. You could heat it. You don't. You can, and that's the other thing. I love it done in a container where you can heat it up, or you can just leave it cold. And I like mine cold. And once you move into different phases, and you can transition into real whole yogurt products or milk products if you prefer, rather than the vanilla drink. But this is my way of keeping a really easy, clean tasting breakfast simple. So really good.
And phase 1 protocol. So I love that you were talking about maintenance, because all of these recipes really can transfer over into maintenance. You're not going to be using the Ideal Protein powder any longer, but you can incorporate them with steel cut oats, and you can incorporate all your smoothie recipes with protein powders that are plant-based and preservative free. And so there's just so many options. We're talking a lot about Ideal Protein, but if you're just on here looking for low carb options, you can incorporate this with other protein-based powders and different things. So if you are logging on, please share our broadcast. And if you like these recipes, be sure that all you have to do is type recipe in the comment section, and Facebook Messenger will send you a link to a downloadable printable file with all the recipes in it. And Dee, also, in the top of our comments is a link to Dee's recipe group, where you're going to see a lot of different recipes on all different kinds of ways to cook savory dishes and veggie dishes. And you'll also, there's several coaches on there that are phase 1, 100% protocol coaches. So you're going to get real good coaching when you join Dee's Facebook group. So the link is in the comments section. I hope you will join us. Melissa says, I use the IP oatmeal in maintenance all the time, but then you can add butter, whipping cream. Yeah. Wow. That sounds fancy. Okay. So let's head over. And this looked like a great one. So if you like things that are pickled, also for probiotic purposes, Dee has created this pickled rhubarb. So tell us about that.
Well, so I have to be honest. I think I've personally almost pickled every veggie that you can, or that you see commercially done when you think of beans and asparagus and carrots, things that even we're not allowed to have, and of course dill pickles. And I was just scrolling through looking for new ideas maybe that I hadn't done with rhubarb, and came across pickled rhubarb, and my interest was piqued. So I did a little bit of reading, and it said it's the perfect accompaniment with fish or chicken, or on a charcuterie board or cheese boards as that savory condiment. And I just thought, I have to try it. I have to make it. They often talk about rhubarb. Rhubarb is your vegetable that is, they compare it to cranberries. So any place that you may use cranberry sauce or a cranberry side with your protein, they say that rhubarb can be its replacement. So my interest was really piqued. And so when you do a little bit more research on rhubarb, is that it was actually way back, and I'm probably not going to get this right, but I think it was in the 40s, they classified it as a fruit because back then there wasn't tariffs on fruits, but there was in veggies. And it was such a widely cultivated crop that it was cheaper to bring in something called a fruit than a veggie. And that's kind of where the use of rhubarb exploded. And the plant is actually native to China in the 16th century and was used for medicinal purposes. So if you actually read up on the health benefits of rhubarb, it's actually a little bit mind-blowing. And so again, with all those vitamins, minerals, digestive, your elimination system, so rhubarb is supposed to be amazing for that. And then even in the pickled form, even apparently is supposed to boost that a little bit more. So I need to do a little bit more reading on that. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you all. That is the first time that I have made this. So now on the Dee's recipe page, you are going to see me put those jars of pickled rhubarb to use in actual recipes. So you're going to have to give us feedback too. You know what? I would encourage you to make it and give me the yay or nay. Yay or nay. I brought a jar to work today. Some clients were super interested, and I gave a jar to our receptionist, Karen extraordinaire, and she's not sure, but she's gonna give it a try for me too. And so sometimes that's what it's all about. It looks fantastic. It is so pretty in the jars that I can't wait to try it over a piece of fish. That's the first thing I'm going to do. I already have it. I have a beautiful piece of cod waiting for it with a kale side salad. So I'm all ready to go. So.
Hey, that sounds awesome. So, if you're not familiar, Dee and I are both coaches. And unfortunately, we're getting a little feedback here. But Dee and I are both coaches. Dee is a coach up at Red Cliff Pharmasave, and she's in Canada. And I am an owner and coach here in Los Gatos, California. And so if you have questions on phase 1, if you want some type of recipe created, if you are interested in new veggies, be sure to watch every Wednesday. Last but not least, I put my own rhubarb compote recipe in here, and I love the Instant Pot. And so if you look on the recipe card, there will be a link, and it will take you out to the YouTube video that'll show you how I make my own rhubarb compote. Super simple, 15 minutes, and it's all done and ready. So Dee, a few last words that you want to tell people about rhubarb, or things you want to mention about cooking and baking?
Well, that last year Instant Pot rhubarb compote recipe, everybody take a look at it. You can do it on the Instant Pot. In the Instant Pot, you can do it on your stove pot. If you can do stewed rhubarb compote, you can make anything with that rhubarb. So that is a great place to start. If you have somebody that has rhubarb and they're willing to give it to you, simply wash it up, slice it up, get it in your Ziploc freezer bags, put it in your freezer. It lasts a really long time. It's a perfect freezable vegetable. If you haven't grown it, try if you're in a place where perennials grow. They're really hardy, so they survive Canadian winters. Anywhere where we have harsh winters, they come back. I'm going to look at my paper for a sec here, and I'm just going to give you some examples. The redder is usually sweeter, but if it's green, it's not wrong. So there are so many varieties of rhubarb. Some of the names are Holstein Blood Red, McDonald's Canada Red, Colorado Red, great for jams and jellies. So we didn't even get to talk about jams and jellies and sugar-free pectin, but we will again one day. There's Colorado Red, Victoria, Riverside Giant. It's a green version, completely green, but still has that same taste. German wine, the Sutton, the Sunrise, and on and on and on. If you were ever a kid that had rhubarb straight out of the garden, you probably sliced that thing up and dumped it straight in the sugar bowl.
Wow.
I'm sure there's quite a few viewers who'd be very familiar with that. And so I want to hear what your traditional recipes with rhubarb were, and if there's something that we can help you make protocol friendly, we will do our best to do so.
Absolutely. So we do have one question. Patty says, if I want to can the rhubarb compote, would I need to add fresh fruit or other preservatives to it?
No. You can. So when you say like can, so if you wanted to do a hot water bath and actually seal it, you would not. If they seal, they're going to have a great shelf life, just like tomatoes or anything like that. But you can buy sugar-free pectin as well to do more of a jam and jellies. And I didn't get to that today. And honestly, the only reason why I didn't is because I actually need to talk to scientific support about sugar-free pectin, just to make sure, that is something that would be allowed. And if it is, then we will continue and do some more work on those. The pickled rhubarb, it says that it is great in the fridge for a month. And that it's not sealed, it's not canned, it's just simply the hot water bath, seal the jar, and then it's good for a month. So,
and if you're trying to preserve it to have during the wintertime, you could also freeze it. So that would work also. All right, we are out of time, and just want to say thank you to everybody watching. Be sure that you share this, and be sure that you have liked our page and have clicked on See First, so that every Wednesday you get to watch our latest concoctions and creations by Dee, and we'll be sharing every Wednesday. So thank you, Dee, and thank you everybody that's watching.
Thank you, Renee.
All right, see you soon. See you next Wednesday.
Thanks for watching.